Okay. All right. So we have done one on voting theory that took us an awful long time, and it gets more it gets easier as you go along. Okay. So here's what we're going to do now. These are just questions that I want you to think about, and things like, is one better? Is one more fair than the others? What are some other things that need to be considered? And just some food for thought on that. Why would they come up with these different methods? And how do each of them work out? Okay. So there was another one that we didn't have time to do in class, and this is a preference table that the same kind of thing. I simplified it by making the candidates A, B, C, and D, and notice there are only 4 candidates and they only went to first, second, third, and fourth place. Okay, so let's see. And also on here is a worksheet, and this is going to be a worksheet that you can use on the test. So I've got this all on here, and who was the winner by each method, and I want you to get used to seeing this. Okay, so if I look at this, the first thing I want to do is total up all the votes, and that is going to be 91. Okay, did any candidate have a majority? Well, let's see, a majority is going to be 91 divided by 2, which is 45.5, and I have to round that up. That's 50%, so that has to be 46. So I can answer this after I do the plurality. Okay, so we can see this table on all of them. Again, I am going to start folding things and making sure that you can see them. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do candidates A, B, C, and D. So let's do A, B, C, and D. And the plurality, I just want to see how many first place votes each of them got. Okay, well, column A, or excuse me, column 1, candidate A came in first, so they get the 28. Column B, C came in first, so they get the 23. This column, D came in first, so gets the 14. In this column, A gets the 16. And in this column, B gets the 10. So let's see here. A came up with 44. B has 10, C has 23, and D has 14. So does any candidate have the majority? None of them have 46, so the answer is no. Okay, so the plurality winner is A. We can kind of do two things at one time. A has the most first place votes. Now the single runoff, we're going to take from this table the top 2 vote getters, which are A and C. And these votes that B and D got are going to be redistributed. Okay. So if we're looking at just A and C, well, in column A, A1, or column 1, so they get the 28. In the second one, C1, so they get the 23. Neither of them won in this column, but C came in higher than A, so C gets the 14. A won this one, so gets the 16. Neither of them won this, but A came in higher than C, so A gets the 10. So when I total those up, I get that A got 54 and C got 37, so the winner is A. Okay, a sequential runoff. Since there are only 4 candidates, this doesn't take us quite as much time. In the sequential runoff, the first thing we do is from our plurality table, we cross off whoever got the fewest number of votes, which is B. So we're going to just look at A, C, and D. Now once again, you can think about this. Well, I know D has 14, C has 23, A has 44, so I just need to find this B and find out who it's going to be reallocated to. Or you can just start from scratch. So I know A is starting off with 44. I'll do it a little bit different way this time. C is starting out with 23. D is starting out with 14. B won this column, but B's no longer in the running. So looking at A, C, and D, A is going to get those additional 10 points, which gives us 54. Okay. I want to say I did something wrong here, but I don't think I did. Okay, so D, oops, I'm sorry, I did write down, this is not 23, this is 37. That's what I did wrong. Okay, D got the fewest number of votes, so now we are just down to A and C. Okay, we know coming into this that A has 54, C has 37. So I just need to go to this column where D won and figure out where they go. So since D is out of the running in the column with 14, C is ahead. So they get the 14 points. So A has 54 and C has 51, which means A still won. So A is the sequential runoff winner. Okay. All right, let's do the board account now. All right, and we're going to look at candidates A, B, whoops, and let me scoot this up, C, and D. Okay. Now with 4 candidates, this isn't going to take quite as long, but I am going to show you, I'm going to do this one a little bit differently and show you what I talked about earlier in the video. Okay, I know for the column 1, we're going to have 28 times something. The second column, 23 times something. The third column, 14 times something. In the next column, 16 times some point value. And the last one, 10 times some point value. I'm going to go ahead and write this down for all of them. Now I did this intentionally. I left it, so I would do it on the video so you could see how you set it up from the beginning on your own. So okay. Now, before I looked at the candidate and did all of them across. But now I'm going to look at them in columns. But first of all, let's see what the point value is. First is going to be 4 points. Second is 3. Third is 2. And fourth is 1. So here's how I'm going to look at this. Okay, so in this first column, A came in first, so A gets 4 points. B came in second, so B is going to get 3 points. C came in fourth, so C is going to get 1 point. And D came in third, so D is going to get 2 points. Okay. Again, whichever way you look at it, you're going to get there. Okay. In the next column, the 23 points, C came in first, so is going to get 4 points for each of those votes. D came in second, which means D is going to get 3 points. A came in third, which means A is going to get 2 points, and that leaves B that comes in fourth, which is going to get 1 point. Okay, in the next column, A came in fourth is going to get 1. B came in third, which is going to get 2. C came in second, which is going to give them 3 points for each vote, and D came in first, which is going to give them 4 points. Okay, in the next one, A came in first, so gets 4 points. B came in third, so that's going to give them 2 points. C came in second, which is going to be 3 points. And D came in fourth, which is going to give them 1. In the last one, B came in first, so they're going to get 4 points. A came in second, which is going to get 3 points for each of those votes. C came in third, which is 2 points. And D came in last, which is going to be 1 point. Okay. Now once again, doing it horizontally or doing it vertically, it doesn't make any difference. But let's add these up then. Okay, so if I do my multiplication, I get that this is 266. B got 207. C got 230. And D got 198, excuse me. Okay. So your winner is A. Okay. All right, so let's do our pairwise comparisons. So I'm going to have to compare A against everybody, then B against everybody, then C against everybody. Oops, and I'm sorry, I don't have that scooted up enough. And then finally, D against everybody. Okay, so let's see, I'm going to have A versus B, A versus C, and A versus D. And I'll just go ahead and fill this in. So this is going to be B versus A, B versus C, and B versus D. C versus A, C versus B, and C versus D. And then in our last column, oops, and the last line didn't print, it's going to be D versus A, D versus B, and D versus C. Okay, so, and this really should have gone on the outside. Okay, so let's do D versus A, or A, let's do A versus whatever. Okay, so A got the first column, so they got the 28. A came above B in this column, gets the 23. B comes above A here, gets the 14. A gets the 16 from this column, and B comes before A and gets the 10 here. Okay, so it looks here like A is the winner. Okay. Even without adding up a total, you can tell that this is bigger than this. This is only 24, so that didn't work. Okay, A versus C. A came in higher here, so gets the 28. C came in higher here, gets the 23. C came in higher here, gets the 14. A comes in higher here, gets the 16. And A comes in higher here and gets the 10. Okay. So I think it's pretty clear here that A won. Well, no, not really. 28 and 26, yeah, A won here. All right, let's do A versus D. In the first column, A gets the 28. In the second column, whoops, D gets the 23. D gets the 14 here. A gets the 16 here. And A gets the 10 here. So once again, A won. So A has 3 wins. Okay. If I do A versus B, that's the same thing as B versus A, so A wins. Let's look now at B versus C. Okay, B came in higher here, so gets the 28 points. C came in higher here, gets the 23 points. C comes in higher here, gets the 14 points. Also gets the 16 points. And B gets the 10 points. So it looks like C won that one. Okay, let's do B versus D. B gets the 28 points here, came in higher. D gets the 23 points here. D gets the 14 points here. B gets the 16 points here. It's kind of close. And B gets, oops, that's 16. And B gets the 10 here. Okay. So B won that one. Okay, so B has 1 win. Okay, then we're going to look at C compared to all of them. C versus A, A won. C versus B, C won. So now all I have to do is C versus D. Okay, so in the first column, D comes in higher, so D is going to get the 28. C gets the 23 points here. D gets the 14 points here. C gets the 16 points here. And C gets the 10 points here. So C wins this one. So C has 2 wins. Okay, so now the last one for D versus A, A won. For D versus B, B won. And for D versus C, C won. So D has 0 wins. So that means that the winner is A. Now these examples were very different to show you that you can have different winners in each of them, or you can have the same one win in all of them. Okay, so that's it. I'm exhausted. So good luck on the test.